What's going on, everybody? Deal or No Deal here, and today I am doing a controller review of the AP.1 Afterglow controller. I found that most reviews on YouTube didn't really do a good job of going over everything. At least that's my opinion. So I'm going to try to do my best to review everything to really get you to understand whether or not this is a good controller and whether you should buy it or not. So the first thing that you'll notice when you buy it is the price, obviously. And it comes around $20 to $25 depending on where you buy it. Now, the DualShock controller is $50 to $55. So, if you look at it that way, this controller is about half of what you pay for the DualShock. And that's really good. Now, let's go into the specifics. The first thing you notice aesthetically are the placement of the analog sticks. It's set up the way the 360 controller is. And I really like that because, well, it makes more sense. You use that analog stick a lot more than the D-pad, so why not moving up? Make it more comfortable. So I believe that's a huge improvement. Really makes a difference, at least to me. Now you're going to notice the D-pad. The D-pad is just one piece of plastic, unlike the DualShock's 4 separate buttons. And that's actually a con for me, because, I mean, it works. If I press right, it's going to go right. But if I were to type out a PSN message, it's not as responsive as the D-pad on the other controller. So it's a lot slower to finish my messages. Now, if you look at the buttons are responsive, they click, but they're smaller. Let me bring up the DualShock for a second. As you can see, these buttons are big. And then when you look at these buttons, they're smaller. It doesn't really make a difference in terms of gameplay, but it's just something I noticed. So I'm really indifferent about them, I have no opinion. Now let's talk about the shoulder buttons. And the best way to show this is first let me hold the DualShock controller. You'll notice I kind of have to reach up to get these buttons, right? It's kind of uncomfortable if you play it for a long time. Now, the good thing about the Afterglow is they have curved buttons on the side. So when I hold it, it's a lot easier to get to, a lot comfortable for me to hold, and just really nice. Really responsive too, no problems, no lag. And you'll notice with these back buttons here, they have like these curves. They have like a trigger shape. It's really nice. If you play a game like Uncharted or Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, where you're required to shoot with these back buttons, then you'll have just as good of a time than if you were to use these buttons. They're really responsive. The triggers make it really feel nice. Really nothing else about the front. I mean, it's see-through. You can see where the vibrators are. You got your standard buttons here. Just a fact, you probably know this, but you can't actually turn the console on if you hold the button here. Only the DualShocks can do that. Now let's take a look at the back. As you'll notice with the back, we have some different stuff than we normally do. On this side, as well as this side, we have grips. And the best way to show that, let me hold on to them. See how my finger just rests right there? And it's comfortable for, I would say, about an hour and a half. Then it starts getting a little annoying. It is not a big complaint, so I'm really indifferent about them. But maybe I could have done without them. Now this button right here, this is what makes the Afterglow the Afterglow. So I'm going to turn it around so we can get a good view of this. Right now it's on the off mode. But, if I press it once, it goes on. And it's really bright. There's 4 green LEDs in there. And you don't have to get the green. There's the green, the blue, red, purple, and I believe there's an orange. I'm not sure about that one. But either way, you got some choices. So, that's really nice. It's really good for if you're playing in the dark or in a dark lit room, because it just lights everything up. Really easy to see the buttons too. Now what's really cool is the other feature. If you press the button again, it looks like it turned off. Not really. Here's what happens. Let's say I am playing Call of Duty, which is actually the game I have in right now. I go to shoot my gun, my controller vibrates. It lights up to the vibration. This is a really cool feature because, it's really good for like finding stuff in LA Noire or just going along with the action in Call of Duty. If your controller vibrates, the light visually will stimulate your responses as well as the feeling of the vibration. So I actually found that sometimes it would help me, get out of gunfire or something. It's really cool. I like it a lot. There is a small latency with the vibration though. Or excuse me, the lights after the vibration. It'll vibrate, but the lights will still stay on for a second. Not a big deal, but if it was a little bit more accurate, that'd be really cool. So let me just turn this off now. Overall, this is a really sick controller. I like it a lot. Another thing I didn't mention is that it's a wired controller. Not a problem though, the wire's really long. I'm actually on the other side of my room. So this is really nice. And one little thing that people probably wondered, can it support control freaks? The FPS freaks, to be specific. Well, it can. It moves around perfectly, it stays on really easily, and actually is a lot easier to put on than with the DualShocks. So yes, it can support the control freaks really well. And actually, I have a clip of a game. It's a short clip, but I recorded it while I was using the Afterglow controller. So I'm going to throw it at the end of this just to let you see just how it affects my gameplay. Nothing really changes, but it's just as good as the DualShock in my opinion. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review, and now I just got the game clip coming up. So I'll talk to you there. Alright, so I just got the short little game clip here. As you can see, I joined this free-for-all pretty late. Just using the Mac 11 with, you know, the standard SMG perks. And, I mean, if you watch the video, you'll notice that the gameplay doesn't look any different. It just looks like I'm playing Call of Duty. Because there really is no difference with the controller. I am using the Control Freak, however, to use my high sensitivity. But, other than that, I mean, there's no difference. In fact, sometimes I find it easier to use the Afterglow because the buttons are smaller and closer together. And so, you know, you can get those buttons faster than if you would the DualShock. Not by much, but it's something. So, I think it's a pretty good controller. I would actually say it's the best controller aside from the DualShock. Because I've bought in some third-party ones before. They just don't compare price-wise and how good it is. So, this is definitely a great controller. And I'm probably going to get one other one at some point. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope the review helped you. Maybe helped you consider to get the controller. Or maybe you got the controller because of it. Let me know if you ever do get the controller. Just leave a comment below. I really hope that this review helps people out in deciding to get it. So anyways, I'll just cut it off here. Not much else to say. You can just watch the rest of the video. Whether or not I win, because I joined in pretty late, we'll find out. But thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. And as always, rate, comment, and subscribe if you see fit. Have a good one, guys.